That's true. They'll all be out in the first round, but.
Yeah, well, we were listening to Fuser, but I guess Fuser was muted.
Was
so
Fuser
you just looked really awkward on camera.
Was Fuser muted?
Welcome back to the poll spot.
Oh man, what a jerk of a technical director we have.
Are you using Björn Borg underwear?
What?
The underwear.
Oh, that's Kevin's.
Are you using Björn Borg underwear? How do you not understand him?
I understand the question, but I don't understand why I was asking the question.
Why is this question asked?
Man, I love Fuser. He is awesome.
Are you using Björn Borg underwear?
Yes.
I'm not using Björn Borg. No, I'm not.
Kevin, not for you.
I'm not. Oh, Kevin.
Kevin.
I can look. No, not today. Not today, Fuser. Why?
No, not today, but I said on the toilet.
What? why are you bringing this up? It's very nice to know that when I'm out of the house, you go through my underwear. This is like the most.
No.
He takes it out.
So messy, and they were like,
oh no, Andre.
Wow.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a show about Heart of the Swarm balance discussion.
Let's go ahead.
That escalated really quickly.
Are we live?
Yes.
Yes. We're live, Fuser.
Really, we are?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was still the break. No. Thanks for the heads up, guys.
Let's start over on camera 3. We'll cut that out. It's cool.
Can we do like an intro wipe or something? Elliot. We're doing it live. We're doing it live.
Oh, we're on 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Thank you for joining us, to all of our pro players, Todd, Fuser, and Gosu User. And thank you guys, the viewers, for tuning in from home. We've been discussing Heart of the Swarm balance.
And only Heart of the Swarm balance.
And Fuser has definitely not been sniffing Kevin's underwear for some reason.
No, I'm not giving him the hots.
Those are not very balanced.
We've talked about Terran, we've talked about Zerg. Now it's time to talk a little bit about Protoss. And rather than jumping right into the SkyToss discussion, because I know it's one that everybody wants to have, I want to start with the issues of all of the really strong Protoss all-ins that we already had, the 6 gates, the Blink Stalker all-ins, all of that, and talk about how much better they are now just by virtue of the addition of the Mothership Core. Todd, let's start with you.
I think the nerf on the Blink research being 30 more seconds is pretty big. It's just going to make any type of Blink all-in much weaker than it used to be. And I think this was mostly done because against Terran, 4-gate Blink all-in plus Mothership Core, which had detection at the time, was way too strong, which I completely agree with. But maybe the nerf feels like a bit too much. In the sense that since both of those things were nerfed, now this type of all-in is much worse or completely not viable. So you need to go for observers if you want to go for a Blink all-in. And the only build that I feel it really counters is some kind of mine opening into 3 command centers, which not many people do. So yeah, Blink all-ins in general, not good anymore. Even getting Blink against Terran, if you play a standard game with a quick Nexus and against a quick command center, the Terran will start dropping at like 8:39 with his very fast medivacs, and you will have Blink even later than usual. So sometimes it can arrive before you even have Blink, in which case it's going to be really tough to hold. So.
But Blink all-in is really good against Terran if Terran goes for like a CC first or no gas expansion.
With Observer or without?
Without, because you have the Mothership Core. So
yeah,
you get
but
like
you can just... If you can fly into your main and get some bunkers, like if you see it coming, I feel like it's much easier to see it coming. If you hide the SCV out on the map,
yeah,
then
of
you
course
scout
it's easier to see it coming, but it's really hard to stop because you get the 2-3 extra Stalkers that they combo.
I think if you know it's coming, I definitely feel like now...
I have definitely tried with like a 1 barrack expansion to counter the Blink Stalker all-in, but it's not possible. It's really hard.
Yeah, but I feel anyway that
in some maps.
in Heart of the Swarm, gas openers are much better than non-gas openers. And if you go for a gas opener, it means you will get a factory early on a lot of the time. And then if you get mines, you will almost always be fine. And it means you can even get a Reaper. And if you get a Reaper, it's like perfect against Blinkstalker Earling, because you're gonna see it, and then you're gonna have a unit to send to counterattack when the Protoss moves out, which will force the Stalker to stay into his mineral line. And you're just gonna be able to prepare for it very, very well. You're gonna be able to make bunkers. You can go into tanks if you want, and then take your expansion. So I don't know. I just don't like Blinkstalker. I mean, I wasn't doing many Blinkstalker all-ins or Blinkstalker pressure in Wings of Liberty, and I like it a lot less in Heart of the Swarm.
What about Zerg versus Protoss? We've got, I think, is it Grubby that does the 8-gate craziness?
Yeah, 7 or 8. You mean with one gas?
Yeah, with one gas. You take a build like that and you add a mothership core to it.
Yeah, but that's 100 gas, man. That's that's like everything. Because the power of that
That's like
build.
1 century.
Yeah, but like the build that
you don't get a century, you do
7
7 or 8
All right,
gates.
well, let's not talk about that build specifically. Let's just talk about the heavy gateway aggression off of 2 bases.
Yeah.
That's already pretty good in Wings of Liberty. We know that it works. It's still used in tournament play at the highest level. And then you add the mothership core to it. What does it do to the matchup Gosu user?
I think the biggest thing the Mothership Core is doing is it makes it way more difficult to deny proxy pylons by Protoss with any type of all-in they're doing. Because 1 or 2 Zealots and Stalkers with a Mothership Core, you have to make so many slow lings to kill those and actually trade even like close to efficiently with the Mothership Core shooting your units the whole time, and with them microing too. So you either build a lot of lings to deny the pylons, and you have to build like 16 usually if they have like 2 Stalkers and a Zealot with the Mothership Core, or you have to let them proxy pylons with any type of all-in they're doing, and basically just like build units to defend and not try to deny the pylons. And I think that's the biggest thing. Besides that, like Immortal all-in with the core and like 7-gate Void Ray with a Mothership Core are both really, really good too.
Don't you see all the Mothership Core is gonna do is tickle because the user's Roach and Lynx where he's crushing you?
Yeah, but it's mostly, well, that you can't deny the pylons, I think, because you don't have Roaches to deny proxy pylons, it's just Lynx. And Mothership Core kills Lynx in like 4 or 5 shots, I think.
Oh yeah, it was Crank who did that, right? He used like some Stalkers and 1 Zealot and the Mothership Core to bring a probe near your base and then make a couple pylons.
Yeah, a lot of Protosses are doing it on ladder now, and like you have to build like 16 Lings if you want to stop like 2 Stalkers and a Zealot and a Mothership Core from proxying pylons.
What
Because
about, just a quick question here, guys. Something that I've seen a little bit of. I don't know if it's catching on at the highest level yet, but the gateway before, like gateway expand versus going like a Forge expand or a Nexus first. By doing that, you're able to go like Zealot Stalker or Zealot Stalker Mothership Core and start poking like that, and that can kind of slow down a Zerg economy a little bit, make it a little bit harder to take that fast third base. Have you played against that Gosu user, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I've played against that a lot. Like it's about 50-50 maybe of that opening and just like a Nexus first or a Forge expand. And I think both the styles we're gonna see a lot of actually, because they both kind of make each other stronger. Like Nexus first before in Wings of Liberty, you can counter it with like 6 pools and 9 pools a lot. But Heart of the Swarm, it's such a huge risk to do a 6 pool or 9 pool because gateway openings are so common. I think it'll be about 50-50.
What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I think he's right, but you should understand why gateway openings are so common. For example, on a map like Akinon's Waste, if you go for Forge opening, you're gonna need like 4 buildings to wall your ramp, and then you have to take in consideration the rocks. So if you get Roach rushed, it's gonna be so hard to hold. And there's also a possibility of a Nidus in your main, and you need to cover so much space. So you can really narrow down on which maps a Protoss will open for Forge or Gates. And then from there, you can just make sure that you don't go for a rush on the maps that Protoss goes for a Gate. Yeah, pretty much it.
Cool. Let's move into the discussion that I think everybody really wants to have, and that is the discussion of that ultimate Protoss army and the state of Skytoss in Heart of the Swarm. Everybody complained a lot in the early days of Wings of Liberty that the Protoss death ball was just ball up, A move, win games, get ladder points, win tournaments, whatever. Early on. Certainly that's not what Wings of Liberty was at the end. Skytoss now feels incredibly strong. That Void Rays are much better. As we've seen, carriers are quite good now. Tempest, definitely a great supplement, and you've also got the Oracles that can be a harassment tool early on sometimes. Phoenix openings are still good. What's up with the late game Protoss army, and can it be killed?
It's easy to turn. Just make a bio with coasts. You kill them.
I don't know what to say. I feel like Void Race. When we say Skytoss, I think we mean mostly a whole bunch of Void Race with some Tempests. But Void Race get countered by AoE. So in Wings of Liberty, they were pretty weak because of against Zerg, because of Fungal, against Terran because EMP, Mass Vikings. But I feel like now against Zerg it's definitely better, not only because Fungal is weaker, but also Void Rays are better. Even though there are 4 supply instead of 3, they do so much damage, especially once you activate their spell. And if you have a lot of Void Rays plus Templars, it's just going to be super strong of an army to deal with. So, to be honest, I haven't had much experience with it, but just picturing the thing, I can tell it's probably very strong. Against Terran, probably a lot less with Void Rays, but with Tempest, I think Protoss has the ultimate late game right now against both Zerg and Terran. In Wings of Liberty, I felt the other way around. I felt like we had the weakest late game, 200 supply into Remax. Just because against Terran you had a lot of ghosts crushing you, and against Zerg you had Brewlord Infestor, against which you couldn't trade cost effectively. But now we have the Tempest, and the Tempest might be the best unit in the game. In the late game, if you can get a lot of Tempest, maybe a couple Void Rays in support, and a lot of Templars, I feel like there's nothing that can really beat you, to be honest. I casted a game of Seed versus Maru on Newkirk City, which lasted like a bit more than an hour. And I looked at this replay thinking, what can Maru do, seriously? So it's just one game, and it was during the beta, but those Tempest plus Templars below them just looked unbeatable. The thing is, reaching this army is very hard. You're not going to see this very often, but if a Protoss can maintain himself in a stable situation in a game, going to Colossi, into Templar versus Terran, and then in the late game kind of split the map and have cannons ready, and he starts pumping out Tempests, I just feel this is going to be a very strong army that doesn't have too many counters.
Was Maru doing mech or bio?
He was doing bio. And he had Ghost. He had a lot of Ghosts. He couldn't engage. Every time he was going forward, the Tempests were shooting and killing like 5 units to 10 before the fight even began. And then he was getting everything stormed, because there was a lot of Templar spread out.
You can beat that army easily. You just need a few Seeds tanks, battlecruisers, and Ravens and Vikings.
We need to reload that replay, guys, right now.
All right.
Todd versus
Let me message
Fuser.
Seed right now and see if he's available for a game. But seriously, I think this looks very hard for the other races to counter. But then again, I've seen it only once, and we'll see what happens.
It's hard in the paper, but if you like put a lot of point defense drones, you put Siege stands in front of the planetary fortress. So every time you high Templars try to attack you, they get owned by Siege tanks.
And how do you
Why
attack
are
them?
all of your builds revolving around mass planetary fortress?
Hey, I like that, man.
Very good.
When do you research building armor? That's what Andre really wants to know.
I was just gonna ask.
It depends if I have gas, like maybe 5-minute mark.
Fuser,
So my supply depot wall is
we're
stronger.
going to have a very lasting relationship. I can tell right now.
Mike, Todd was talking about some of the strengths of that late game Protoss army. As a Zerg player, how do you feel when a game drags on past that 30-minute mark?
I'm not actually sure if it's completely imba yet, because I think you can kind of trade with it okay if you go like Mass Queen Hydra with Infestors and some Corruptors, but you have to have like a lot of Queens, or you can't do anything against it and you just lose.
Did you hear what I said about the Templars, though?
Yeah, but you just drop like 1 billion Creep Teamers, and all of your Queens have like 50 energy, and you're fine.
So you don't use the queens for transfuse, you use them to shoot stuff?
Well, you you have some energy, like 50 to 100 each. But if you have full energy, then they just feedback everything and you lose.
Yeah, what about
But-
Storm against this army? If you have Mass Void Race plus Tempest,
I mean, it's not like a way to counter it, but Storm kills everything else quicker than it kills queens.
To be fair, to be completely fair, we're talking about a Zerg army that's going to require spell casting on 3 different units, and a Protoss army that requires an A move.
You don't use Vipers either. You can't use Vipers. You just use like only like fungal growth and just kind of like A move and let the queens soak up as much damage as you can.
Kev, I know you had a question.
I just had a question towards Mike. Mike, how come on Twitter you think everything is Imba and here you think nothing is Imba? There's a reason why we brought you on this show, man. We want to hear the cries.
I thought it was totally Imba, but after I saw Snoot against Feast and like his queen army.
But Feast beats Snoot.
Yeah, but like that's because Snoot's first army with like 16 queens or 16 or 20 queens killed off like almost the whole Protoss army, and then after that they traded about evenly that fight. And then every fight after that, Snoot didn't make queens again, and he just went like only Corruptor and Faster, or like Hydras. And if you go any of those, you just get completely destroyed, and you don't even trade close to evenly. You have to go like heavy queen, or you have no chance. And obviously the queens don't kill everything; they still die, and Storm is still pretty good. But if you go anything else, you'll definitely lose.
I was just kind of joking, though. No.
It's an interesting point, man. You know, it does kind of solve the issue of late game spending because you won't use all your gas on certain things. Queens are a good mineral sink.
Is that under the assumption that we're always going Void Rays? Because I feel like carriers are such a good alternative.
That's another good point.
Once you get to that stage.
But everyone goes Void Rays, so you can usually make this work.
Like I know even in Wings of Liberty, I was beating Zergs that I should never have been beating. Because of just the carrier's existence and the carrier Archon High Templar plus of course Vortex at the time, but I didn't even feel I needed Vortex. I mean, I just feel like with this Sky Toss, it makes it so easy for lesser skilled players to beat better skilled players.
If you reach Skyers against Zergs in Wings of Liberty and you won, you definitely deserve to win. I have to disagree on that.
But what about if like a Blizzard would give like a +1 range to Corruptors and like Tentrix could make a huge arc and destroy the Sky army?
It won't matter. If they have one more range, they would still suck. Because the problem is they die too quick to Storm and Void Rays.
Because of the Storm, because all of your Corruptors are in one clump, but if you would like
no, even if you line them out,
from Nevada to Los Angeles is like a huge arc.
It doesn't matter. You
Did you just say Los Angeles?
Yes.
It's actually pretty close to each other, to be honest.
No matter how you arc the Corruptors,
can we get a translation?
Like, a lot of storms, and it won't work.
Yeah, it's the same for Void Rays. They would always clump up above each other, and that's why AoE is their weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can do the arc. We are doing it with Vikings against Broodlords every time. And
yeah, because you have PFs and Ghosts and tanks covering them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the small things as well that makes this Protoss army even stronger is the addition of just like 2 or 3 Archons. Just because that will be the only thing that's on the ground. But if those Archons only get 1 or 2 shots off on that clump of Corruptors, that's so massive. Like that's so much damage. Then a Storm on top of it. But I'm surprised that you're so against the idea of +1 range for Corruptors though, Mike. Because I thought about that myself as well, and I thought it would at least make it a little bit better.
Would that mean that the Corruptors could shoot from farther away than the Void Rays? Would the Corruptor outrange the Void Ray?
Yes, I think so.
Because if you could outrange the Void Ray and kite it, then maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you can outrange the Void Rays, then it might work. But if the Void Rays, if it doesn't outrange Void Rays, then I think it'll still trade the same. And
I think it does then, though.
If it does, then maybe.
I have another idea. How about change the AI of how air units move? Because right now, if you have big Corruptors, a large amount of Corruptors, you will never be able to move them in formation. If we are able to move in formation, I feel like that's going to be a lot more effective so they don't clump up.
Yeah,
so then you can move.
No, you can.
Yeah, but Mass Void Ray is going to be 10 times better.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true.
No, Terry's actually a freak for that.
Thanks.
Taz like, yeah. No longer is AoE a problem.
Like if you have a huge clump army, like you have spread your army, and you A-move to your enemy base, they don't clump so much. But if you A-move to the next of your army, they clump way more. So you just need A-move into like a really far away.
Like the top corner.
Into Los Angeles.
If you A-move on the into Los Angeles, if you A-move on the mini map, it retains it a little bit better. I don't know, man. I think
the clumping doesn't matter though. Because like
Of
I don't
course
know
it
why we're
matters
discussing-
if you get the Storm and Archon
obviously it
hits.
matters, but I don't know why we're discussing clumping because assuming you split the corruptors up perfectly, you're still gonna get completely destroyed
Yeah,
by
that's true.
the Protoss.
Yeah,
It's true.
Void Rays
I
are
think
just
so.
like, I don't know. I am of the opinion, this is my honest opinion, that the Void Ray and the Oracle have way too much overlap, and one unit needs a complete redesign or to go.
Sounds like an original idea.
I mean, we've had this discussion, and but I mean, it's something that Blizzard's dealt with too since they first introduced the Oracle. It's like they've been having a hard time finding a role, and the Void Ray in its current state just feels so lame to me. It just feels there's nothing more frustrating than losing to a bunch of Void Rays.
Yeah.
And all they did was press E. That's it.
It's really annoying.
That's their micro.
Like,
I
guess
actually
there
do
is a
think that like
justice.
the Oracle is a complete different unit though. Like the way that the Oracle plays out, I actually want to ask the guys about that. Certainly Johan as well. Like how you guys feel about the Oracle? It probably the unit that went through most changes. It had spells, and Tomb got removed. Then it got the Purser Beam, Revelation, that got changed around again. How do you guys feel about the Oracle in its current state? Because I kind of see it as a unit which either does an insane amount of damage or just gives you vision.
I think it's underused a lot. If you like have one Oracle, you can get a map pack from enemy army, and it's like an observer in packet, and it kills SCVs faster than 4 Banshees, and like it's not used too much.
Yeah,
I feel like
I think late game Protoss should always have one for Envision
Yes.
because Envision is so long of a duration.
yeah,
It's 60 seconds.
Yeah.
that's forever in a game of
Yes.
StarCraft.
No, I totally agree with that, but like this is like our new unit, guys. Like Protoss doesn't have too much new funky stuff, so Oracle is one of those few units. If like all I can do with it is either kill a lot of workers early game or save it for very late game and get the Revelation, it's like, yeah, it's good, but it's not that exciting. Like, are you happy with the current state of the Oracle?
No, it's Imba.
I don't know why they took away Time Warp from the Oracle. I think the game would be better if like the Mothership Core didn't have Time Warp and the Oracle did. I don't know.
And
How do you
what
feel,
should you
Johan?
give the Mothership Core instead?
Nothing. I think the Mothership Core is
man.
already
Whoa.
like right now it's way better than how much it cost. You always see it every game from Protoss. And I think if you took away the Time Warp and give it back to the Oracle, then they actually have to make decisions if they want to build a Mothership Core.
But I also think if you do that, it creates like, why would you build the Oracle? You're not going to build the Oracle for time warp, right? There's at that point in the
I
game,
mean,
I
you
think
know,
that's-
Century-
I
Why
think
they nerfed it,
it's 10
though?
times better than an observer. Like it'll never. I can use Envision, and then with that 60 seconds, I have like 30, 35, 40 more energy that I can just use for another Envision in like a couple of seconds. I feel
What
like
about
it's-
if?
Go ahead.
What about if you will swap the observer thing, the Mothership Core, and give the Time Warp to Oracle?
That's how it used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
was.
And that was a little bit
That was
nuts
OP,
too, because the
man.
Mothership Core had detection and
Yeah. Then
It
Blink
was-
Stalkers will be the most OP
Yeah.
thing ever. Like
Yeah.
I don't think Envision
Oh.
is very important, except maybe when you have a whole bunch of Tempests and you want to shoot from really far.
Well,
But like in the mid game, for example, against Terran, you need all the gas you have to make Templars or whatever
In
whatever
one,
else.
in
it-
one
it is you're
year,
making.
I swear that they are using the map pack way more than now. Because Protoss players are always so slow. In 1 year, they will notice, oh, we have actually a map pack. We don't need to download it from the
But-
internet anymore.
You don't need to see your opponent's army. You usually know where it is with the watchtowers, and with you can use hallucination as well.
well,
So-
watchtowers are going to be a thing of the past soon anyway. We're already seeing them moved off to the sides of maps and being taken out of competitive maps altogether. So, guys, I got to wrap up the discussion as it's time for us to sort of move on with the show. Before we say goodbye to our panelists, I want to ask you for your Intel Extreme Masters World Championship predictions, as this will be the first major international competition that features Heart of the Swarm. It's including some incredibly strong names, the likes of MVP, Lucifron, Violet, Rhett, MC, Parting. This is an all-star lineup if ever there has been one. Who do you guys think is going to win it? We're going to start with you, Todd, and we'll just go right down the line.
You know, thinking about the tournament, having played a lot, I would have definitely said that Terran was going to do good, because I feel like this is the strong race right now in Heart of the Swarm. But when you look at the list of players, it just seems so hard to make a prediction, because you have great players from every race. So then in the end, it comes down to who prepared the best. But except for a few players, you don't know the way anybody prepared, because everybody's playing on Smurf or barcodes. So I would have to say that some players, for example, Grubby, Hazuops and Mana, if they practiced a lot of Heart of the Swarm, they have a much better chance to do well on Heart of the Swarm than they would have on Wings of Liberty against the Koreans, for example. And we also have a much better chance to see maybe some of the Zergs do worse than in Wings of Liberty, because, again, Heart of the Swarm, not Wings of Liberty. And for the Terran, I mean, all of them practice secretly. I have no info about MVP, Sting, Cass, Dream, and Yoda. I just know a little bit about the way Lucifron's been playing, which is, in my opinion, very impressive. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lucifron goes far and just ends up very high in the final rankings. But also, other than that, it's very hard to say.
Mike?
I don't think any of the Zergs are going to make the finals for sure. And
That's the Mike I know.
Like, maybe we might have a Zerg in top 4. I would say no way, except there's so many Zergs at this event because they all qualified in Wings of Liberty that there's still like some chance that one of them makes top 4. I'd say either Protoss or Terran wins. I don't know which one. Maybe Protoss, because I think there's more than the Terran at the event. I think either MVP or MC is going to win.
And Fuser?
To be honest, this is like a story. On Wings of Liberty, Terran players had to play like 6 times better than Zerg and Protoss players to be good. But now, because the game is finally balanced and Zerg is not so imba anymore, Terrans are still 10 times better. So, because Lucifron were playing so good against Zerg in the past, I bet that Lucifron will win this because there are no more imba.
Fuser's gonna be a great grandpa.
Oh, wow.
Fuser sounds like that one guy on Game of Thrones that he's like, not today.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on the show. Y'all have been fantastic. This has been a wonderful panel. I've enjoyed it. I know our viewers at home have enjoyed it. Before we hang up on you, I'll give you a final chance to give any thank yous or shout-outs. Samuli, we'll start with you.
Shoutouts. I showed that my team, Avsum Gaming, and everyone who's following me on Twitter, FuserSC2, and Facebook, FuserSC2. I don't have many viewers, but some, and I'm really pleased that I have the some. And I want to thank Kevin, as known as RotterdaM, who has the whip, and he's whipping me to the gym every night. And if I don't go, he will laugh behind me and say that I'm pussy. And I guess I need to go gym tonight as well.
Mike, any final words?
Yeah, shoutouts to my team, especially Millennium, and our sponsors, all of them, especially the main ones, C-Discount, Numericable, and Winamax. Thanks to you guys for inviting me to the show. You guys can follow me on Twitter at milghostUser, if you can spell my name.
Yeah, why did you do this? Like, we actually had a discussion about this in the office. Like, this W into a V thing, like,
I don't even know.
It's really not that smart, I think.
It was a horrible idea.
We came to that conclusion.
All right, thank you, Mike, so much. Todd, you're the final hater to say goodbye, so the mic is yours.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for having me on the show. Tune in to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships, where I will be casting alongside Apollo and Kedaris. The action will start Tuesday morning European time and will last 5 days. Lots of great players there. It's going to be the first big tournament on Heart of the Swarm. If you guys want to follow me, twitter.com/ToddSC2, and I miss you guys.
We miss you too, Todd.
Too.
I'm sure IEM's going to be very, very dicey. We're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to be back with breaking news and booze and woos. Don't go anywhere, guys. The Pulse will wrap it up when we're back.
Hello, I am Lucifer, and you're watching The Pulse.